Good morning, I'm Craig Negrelli. It's Thursday, February 6th, 2025, and these are your Unbiased Updates. Saying the war on women's sports is over, President Trump signs an executive order prohibiting transgender women and girls from competing in female sports. Reaction from supporters as well as the trans community. And the State Department claims Panama is willing to waive the fees on American ships using the Panama Canal. Why the Panamanian government is saying, not so fast.
From the Straight Arrow News Studio, bringing the stories that matter to you from across the United States and around the world, these are today's Unbiased Updates.
President Donald Trump followed through on what he said on the campaign trail. He has signed an executive order banning transgender athletes from participating in girls' and women's sports.
With this executive order, the war on women's sports is over. So this will effectively end the attack on female athletes at public K-12 schools and virtually all U.S. colleges and universities. I don't think we've missed anything, but if we do, we'll make it up very quickly with an order.
The order rolls back Biden administration guidance on Title IX, a civil rights law that prevents sex-based discrimination in education programs and activities that receive federal funding. The NCAA president, Charlie Baker, released a statement saying President Trump's order provides a clear national standard. The current measure, dubbed No Men in Women's Sports, is the fourth executive order President Trump has signed involving transgender people since taking office just over 2 weeks ago. Critics say the order addresses a problem that simply is not there.
First of all, the numbers they don't exist. Understand that there's 0.01% gender variant people living in our society as a whole. So it's a very tiny grouping of people that he's actually targeting. And certainly the numbers in terms of gender performance are filled with inaccuracies as well.
However, supporters point to a trans swimmer at the University of Pennsylvania and a trans volleyball player at San Jose State as examples of former men who transitioned to women and then dominated women's sports. The executive order also stipulates the Trump administration will work with sports governing bodies, including the International Olympic Committee, to ensure the guidance is followed in non-educational settings. In the U.S. Senate, Democratic lawmakers held the floor overnight in protest of Russell Vought's nomination to lead the Office of Management and Budget. Republicans have the majority in the Senate, so the GOP has been able to consistently confirm President Trump's nominees, even without any Democratic approval. Vogt was set to be confirmed for the job last night, but Democrats vowed to slow the process dramatically. Democrats have been sounding the alarm on Vogt's ties to Project 2025, a conservative push to reshape the federal government. President Trump has denied he follows its guidelines. Things came to a head after the OMB released a memo last week freezing federal funding. While the memo was rescinded not long after, Democrats say it was a warning sign for how Vogt, who at least one Democratic senator has called Trump's most dangerous nominee, would run the office, which plays a key role in enacting the president's agenda. Senate Democrats began what they say will be a 30-hour protest just after 2:15 local time yesterday afternoon. Despite the protest, the full Senate is expected to confirm Russell Vogt as budget director, a role he previously served in Donald Trump's first term, with Republican Senator John Hoeven of North Dakota saying he has a good working relationship with Vogt and expects that to continue. Hours after the State Department announced that American ships would be allowed to sail through the Panama Canal for free, Panama said that's not true. In a post on X yesterday, the State Department said Secretary of State Marco Rubio made an agreement with Panamanian leadership, allowing the move, which would save the federal government millions of dollars a year. Rubio had visited Panama this week. In a statement of its own, the Panama Canal Authority said it sets the tolls and other fees for crossing the canal, and it, quote, has not made any adjustments to them. The authority did add it is open to dialogue with the U.S. Before taking office, President Trump demanded Panamanian authorities either lower fees for American ships that use the Panama Canal or return its control to the United States. The mayors from a handful of so-called sanctuary cities are set to testify before House lawmakers in an upcoming hearing on their sanctuary city policies. That's according to House Oversight and Government Reform Committee Chair, Kentucky Republican James Comer. Comer has launched a probe into sanctuary policies, which allow a jurisdiction to limit its cooperation with federal immigration enforcement officials when it comes to the Trump crackdown on illegal immigration. Mayors in major cities such as Chicago, Boston, and Philadelphia have said they will not help. This comes as newly confirmed Attorney General Pam Bondi hit the ground running on her first day in office. Straight Arrow News reporter Lauren Taylor has details.
On her first day in office, U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi ordered a pause in federal funding from the Justice Department for sanctuary cities, pending a review for any agreements in violation of law. Sanctuary laws limit cooperation with federal immigration enforcement, protecting undocumented immigrants from deportation by not using local resources to detain or identify individuals based on immigration status. To protect the American people from the effects of unlawful mass migration, President Trump has prioritized securing our nation's border and enforcing federal immigration laws. In furtherance of that objective, the Department of Justice will ensure that, consistent with law, sanctuary jurisdictions do not receive access to federal funds from the department, a memo from Bondi's office states. The U.S. Department of Justice provides various federal funds to American cities to help support law enforcement, community safety, and justice system improvements. A few examples include the Burn Justice Assistance Grant Program, which supports police operations, prevention efforts, technology improvements, and drug treatment programs, and Violence Against Women Act grants, which support programs aimed at reducing domestic violence and sexual assault, among others. Major cities such as New York, Chicago, Los Angeles all have sanctuary policies in place. President Trump and border czar Tom Homan's mass deportation plans are underway, with a focus first on arresting criminal undocumented migrants. Homan said U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement will carry out raids in sanctuary cities and states, and federal agents will enforce immigration law, whether the sanctuary jurisdictions comply with federal orders or not. It's unclear if Bondi's memo signals a larger effort to use financial pressure to push states and cities into supporting Trump's mass deportation goals. Bondi also directed the DOJ to coordinate with the Department of Homeland Security to completely eliminate cartels.
That was our Lauren Taylor reporting. The mayors of Boston, Chicago, Denver, and New York City are all set to appear before the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee to talk about their sanctuary policies on March 5th. Testers have now discovered a second type of bird flu in American dairy cows for the first time. The Department of Agriculture announced the new strain, saying until recently, all dairy herd detections in the United States had been infected with a form of bird flu known as B3.13. This new version, known as D1.1, has only previously been detected in wild birds and poultry, indicating it has now spread to cows. It's also the strain that's been linked to a deadly human case in Louisiana last year, after the victim was exposed to infected birds. Humans infected by D1.1 have experienced more severe symptoms than those with previous bird flu strains. However, the CDC says the risk to the general public remains low, and there's no evidence of human-to-human spread of D1.1. Finally this morning, a story nearly 2,000 years in the making that has scientists fascinated. Researchers using artificial intelligence, as well as X-ray and CT scans, have managed to decipher some words on an ancient scroll that had been buried by lava from Mount Vesuvius in the year AD 79. The rolled-up papyrus scrolls were found in a mansion in Herculaneum. That's an ancient town near Pompeii in the mid-1700s. For more than 2 centuries, researchers made attempts to unfurl them to see what was inside and what they said. It turns out the few that they could open contained philosophical writing in ancient Greek. Others were so badly damaged by the lava they were illegible. On Wednesday, specialists at the University of Oxford in London announced a major breakthrough. Technicians used a massive machine called a synchrotron to create a powerful X-ray beam that was able to look into a fragile scroll without damaging it. The Oxford scholars are now continuing to work on deciphering what the text on this scroll says. Pretty neat. Those are your unbiased updates for this Thursday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. For all of us here at Straight Arrow News, I'm Craig DeGrelli. Have a great day.